Profits at German carmaker Porsche plunged by nearly 96% in the first 9 months of this year.
The world's biggest luxury car makers are hitting the brakes. We're talking about brands like Porsche and Mercedes. They bet heavily on electric cars, but that bet is unraveling. Sales are falling, costs are surging, and profits are sliding.
Something monumental is shifting in the global automotive world. Something far deeper than a simple decline in sales or a sluggish product cycle. Porsche, the legendary German automaker long revered as a pinnacle of precision, power, and engineering mastery, is now facing the sharpest collapse in its history. Reports reveal that its profits have plunged by an astonishing 99% in the past year, leaving the once unshakable company in turmoil few could have imagined. This isn't just a temporary setback or a rough financial quarter. It's a breaking point that could redefine the fate of an empire built on speed, craftsmanship, and national pride. Inside Germany, conversations once deemed unthinkable are taking place. Government officials and industry leaders are now weighing the possibility of a partial or even full sale of Porsche to foreign investors. For the first time in decades, the automaker's assembly lines have gone quiet. Suppliers, some of whom have worked with Porsche for generations, are being told their contracts are no longer needed. The aura of invincibility that once surrounded the brand is fading rapidly. What remains is a crisis threatening not only Porsche's future but also the foundation of Europe's entire auto industry. That Germany's broader economic decline is one of the central forces behind Porsche's downfall. The nation that once served as the engine of Europe's prosperity is sinking deeper into recession. The energy crisis triggered by the war in Ukraine has made industrial production prohibitively expensive. In many manufacturing divisions, electricity and gas bills have multiplied fourfold, eroding profit margins. Inflation continues to eat away at both consumer confidence and corporate balance sheets. Factories that once operated around the clock now run at reduced capacity or stand idle. German automakers, including Porsche, once relied heavily on affordable energy to sustain their high-performance manufacturing systems. That advantage has vanished, and the model that powered their success for decades is now cracking under pressure. Yet, rising energy costs are only one part of the storm. A far greater challenge has emerged from the east. Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers, BYD, NIO, and XPeng among them, are transforming the global auto landscape at a breathtaking pace. Once dismissed as low-cost imitators, these companies have surged into Europe with electric models that are not only cheaper but also superior in software, battery efficiency, and AI integration. What was once a distant threat has become a daily reality on European roads. Chinese EVs now occupy a growing share of the European market, climbing from just 2% to an astonishing 22% in only 2 years, according to Reuters Automotive. That meteoric rise has left traditional automakers scrambling to adapt. For Porsche, a brand built on the prestige of performance, luxury, and heritage, this shift strikes at the heart of its identity. The company's vehicles have long represented the dream of mechanical perfection, an emblem of status and craftsmanship. But the rules of the game have changed. The modern race is no longer about horsepower. It's about battery range, software sophistication, and AI-driven performance. After decades of dominance in combustion engineering, Porsche finds itself unprepared for a world that measures progress not in rev per minute, but in kilowatts and data speed. There's, however, a deeper and more dangerous layer to this crisis, one that threatens not just Porsche but Germany's entire automotive manufacturing base. The global supply chain for electric vehicles relies heavily on rare earth elements such as lithium, nickel, graphite, and neodymium, the essential component for modern battery technology. China controls the vast majority of their extraction and processing. The European Commission has reported that over 80% of the components used in Porsche's Taycan batteries and other future EV models come from Chinese suppliers. If that access is disrupted, production could grind to a halt within months. This threat is no longer hypothetical. Beijing has begun tightening its export restrictions on key materials, a move analysts at the Mercator Institute for China Studies describe as strategic rather than incidental. By limiting Europe's access to these critical minerals, China gains leverage over the continent's most valuable industries. Once weakened, these industries become ripe for acquisition. Insiders in Berlin claim that Chinese investors have already made several attempts to buy stakes in Porsche, only to be blocked by the German government amid fears of public backlash. According to a former official from Germany's Ministry of Industry, Chinese diplomats quietly proposed a strategic partnership as early as 2023, offering access to cutting-edge battery technology and billions in investment in exchange for closer industrial cooperation. Berlin rejected the proposal, unwilling to see its most prestigious automaker tied to Beijing's ambitions. But China is patient and persistent. With German companies now struggling, it is advancing on multiple fronts, combining economic pressure with soft diplomacy to increase its influence. In recent months, Chinese state media have amplified narratives about the overvaluation of European brands and the inevitable shift of industrial power toward Asia. Analysts see this as a preparatory phase of an economic takeover, an attempt to shape global perception before launching major acquisitions. Bloomberg reports that several Chinese investment funds, operating through intermediaries in Hong Kong and Singapore, have already prepared offers to acquire controlling stakes in Porsche. While these funds appear private on paper, they are backed by powerful state corporations in Beijing. The reaction within Germany has been one of growing alarm. Behind closed doors, members of the Bundestag have convened emergency sessions to discuss what some are calling a crisis of national identity. The notion that Porsche, long a symbol of German excellence, could fall under foreign control strikes at the very heart of a nation's industrial pride. The situation has become a mirror reflecting a larger truth. Germany's economic model, once the envy of the world, is faltering under combined weight of energy instability, global competition, and shifting technological paradigms. What began as a financial crisis for one automaker is quickly revealing itself as a pivotal moment in global industry. Porsche's collapse isn't just about one company's misfortune. It's a warning that even the most powerful empires of innovation can crumble when the world around them changes faster than they can adapt. Porsche is not just another automaker. It is a cultural emblem, a badge of German precision and engineering admired across the world. Losing it would signify more than a corporate failure. It would mark the collapse of an entire era of European industrial dominance. Yet, China's ambitions extend far beyond the acquisition of one prestigious brand. Economists argue that Beijing's long-term strategy is to rewrite the global industrial order that Europe once led. For decades, Europe set global standards in technology, design, and luxury manufacturing. Today, China sets the pace. Its rapid advances in electric mobility, battery innovation, and digital infrastructure have given it control over nearly every key link in the modern industrial chain. The crisis at Porsche, while dramatic, is just one visible chapter in this much larger transformation. Across Germany's automotive landscape, major brands like BMW, Volkswagen, and Mercedes-Benz have become increasingly reliant on China, both as a vital sales market and as a source of essential raw materials. But Porsche, with its symbolic status as a national treasure, has become the first to feel the full force of this economic and technological shift. Inside its Stuttgart headquarters, tension runs high. Executives are said to be weighing three grim options: cutting production to minimize losses, selling off assets to stabilize finances, or entering into a strategic partnership with Asian investors. Each path carries enormous risks. Yet, as the crisis deepens, the prospect of external control grows more likely, a scenario analysts believe China has anticipated all along. While Europe spent years debating environmental regulations, carbon targets, and subsidy reforms, China spent a decade executing a master plan. It built an entire industrial ecosystem for electric mobility, from mining critical minerals and refining battery materials to designing EV technology and scaling production at record speed. That strategy is now paying off. In this high-stakes economic chess match, China holds a first move, and it is playing with precision and confidence. If conditions remain unchanged, experts warn that within a few years Porsche could officially fall under Chinese ownership, perhaps framed as a strategic partnership designed to save the brand. In practice, however, such a deal would symbolize something far greater: Europe's quiet surrender to a new industrial reality. For Germany, the implications are profound. The country that once defined engineering excellence is now struggling to preserve it. The German government, fully aware of the stakes, has entered a state of alarm. Inside Berlin's ministries, emergency meetings have become routine. According to reports from Die Welt, Chancellor Friedrich Merz has ordered the creation of a massive support plan aimed at protecting the auto industry. The proposal includes potential state investments and even partial nationalization of major automakers to prevent foreign takeovers. But the plan has divided the government. The Ministry of Finance warns that such intervention could become a financial black hole, burdening taxpayers for years. Meanwhile, Members of the Industrial Committee argue that focusing on saving Porsche alone would only mask a deeper structural collapse, one threatening the entire industrial base of Germany. This division has exposed a deeper question. Should Germany fight to preserve its icons at any cost, or should it accept that its industrial model must evolve? Some lawmakers see intervention as an issue of national pride. To them, allowing Porsche or other German brands to fall under foreign control will be unthinkable, a betrayal of the nation's legacy. Others, however, believe that propping up failing giants would only delay the inevitable. They argue that Germany must reinvent its industries rather than rescue them. While this debate rages on, China continues to advance its influence, unmoved by Europe's internal paralysis that in Beijing. The official response to Germany's growing anxiety has been calm, even dismissive. Chinese state media agency Xinhua recently published a series of articles declaring that Europe's industrial era is over and that Germany must adapt to a new global balance led by Asia. The message, widely circulated across Asia, underscores China's growing confidence. What was once seen as competition is now portrayed as inevitability. The psychological toll of this crisis may ultimately prove just as damaging as a financial one. For millions, Porsche has always represented something far beyond luxury, a symbol of endurance, innovation, and European craftsmanship. To imagine that this emblem of perfection might soon be owned or controlled by foreign investors is a deeply unsettling prospect. If Porsche truly comes under Chinese control, it will no longer be the Porsche we knew, wrote Automotive and Sport. Capturing a sentiment that now echoes throughout Europe's automotive community, observers agree that this imbalance did not appear overnight. It is the outcome of years, perhaps decades, of strategic planning by China, paired with Europe's overconfidence in its legacy industries.